for what would have been the final time for a while, but looks like I'm going to have an extended stay in the 704 once again for episode 92 of the 815 Exchange. I've been gone really for 6 days, almost a week, technically a week. Not by my own accord. It was a rough week last week. It was a rough week, and I probably still sound a little bit under the weather, and then I also had to attend and take part of my grandmother's funeral, so it was a rough week. It was a rough week without getting into too much detail. A lot of stuff going on, and still there's a lot of stuff going on, but it is a little bit freer, a little bit more open this week. And of course, this is the very sentimental episode, not because it's episode 92, but because it's the last in this apartment that I'm in, which I'm not going to disclose for obvious reasons. But it is the last. Possibly you'll see the blue couch. I don't know. You could see the blue couch again. It could be a different blue couch, but it won't be this blue couch, all right? That you've seen for almost 2 years. So yeah, little sentimental episode. But yes. Also, this might be the last time for at least a while, at least for the summer, because I do have an internship. I still will not disclose yet. So we might be doing this on Sunday. So it might be temporarily moved to Sunday instead of Monday. But besides that, don't worry, A15 is not going anywhere. Reaction videos, even though it's been a week, I know TXT dropped, so we'll hopefully get to do that. But yeah, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back into today's episode, because it's a stacked episode. And even though my voice is going, even though, you know, I've been under the weather, I haven't been my best recently, this hopefully should be one of the best episodes, because we have plenty, and I mean plenty, to talk about. And as always, the description, like I always say, has everything you're looking for, alright? If you want to go to the timestamps and you want to skip ahead to entertainment, you want to hear me talk about Harlow, or the fact that Kendrick dropped the Heart 5 with no regard for anybody yesterday. If you want to hear me talk about the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, whatever it is, alright, whatever it is, feel free to skip ahead, long content, I get it. Also, my social media links, my Twitter, IG, Snap, TikTok, all that is in the description. And as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you guys are enjoying the content, I'm sure that will be the cure I need to feel better. But, ladies and gentlemen, with both the Champions League, second leg, and combat sports have been taking place this week, well, once again, I'm going to go to combat sports, because listen, man, listen. I really want to talk about UFC 274, but I'm going to talk about Canelo versus Dimitri Bivol first. All right, now listen. Jake. Now, he did preface it by saying in 3 years. I don't know. I mean, Canelo could fall off, right? Canelo is what? He's in his 30s. So Canelo could fall off, right? And Jake will be much better in 3 years. So, I mean, that's a possibility, and Jake is the bigger guy. But, listen, I still don't see that fight ever happening, I'm going to be honest. I do not see it ever happening. I don't see why Canelo would take that fight. I don't even know why it's being mentioned, besides Jake's, marketing play, which he's doing a very good job of. But let's talk about the relevant, information, right? Bivol took out Canelo. He UD'd him. And it wasn't really close. I'm going to be honest. 7-5 is being very, very generous, but, we'll have the judges treat Canelo. I'm not surprised. Now, this would have been another Chris Nostradamus moment. But, of course, as we know, I was under the weather, so I could not do any type of content creation at the end of last week. However, anybody that asked me about this fight, I said, I don't know if Canelo's going to win this fight. There are weight classes for a reason, and we found out why there are weight classes for a reason. Canelo's usual game plan, it didn't work, and he wasn't able to adjust, and Bivol was able to tee off. He was able to get his licks in. He was able to, find his shots, take advantage of opportunities. And Canelo's footwork, it just was not there. As he got tired of throwing, he got tired of missing, he got tired of getting hits, and it was the most tired we've seen Canelo in almost a decade, I dare say. I mean, it's been a long time since we've seen Canelo that beat up, and it wasn't like he was mangled. He just looked physically tired. And I don't think that means Canelo's washed. I still think anybody in 168, anybody in 160, and if he really wants to go down, even though I don't see it, anybody in 154 can get it and probably all get smoked, alright? That goes for Charlos, Bivol Andrade, probably even David, alright? All of y'all probably get smoked, okay? Don't get too big for your boots. But Canelo's ambition, and I have to respect it, he wanted a bigger challenge, literally a bigger challenge, and it didn't work out. I think a lot more people will put some more respect on Bivol. I think a lot of people that did not follow boxing, those that follow boxing were giving him respect, but those that don't follow boxing, I don't know if they were giving Bivol the respect that he deserved necessarily going into this fight. I think they just didn't know who he was. It's not a household name, so they were like, oh, who's this Bivol guy that you kind of Canelo's going to start jumping the robot. That's not what was ever going to happen. And yeah, Bivol had no business. All there really is to it. Hopefully he fights Berbatov, please. And Canelo, I mean, all those people calling you out, I guess, you can hunt them, get your ends back, get your heat back. Is he still pound for pound number one? Probably. I mean, he went up, he missed. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, Canelo loses to Bivol. Not a big surprise if you really follow boxing. UFC 274, alright, man. Charlie Olives. Alright, first off, he missed weight, which you can do, even though the scale, which was very questionable. So he loses the title automatically. Loses lightweight title. Loses the 155 title. Before the fight starts. Which was disappointing. Disappointing in Charlie. But of course, he'll, debate that, blah, 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 blah. But he left no doubt. Even though he didn't walk out champion, he left no doubt that, in his words, the champion's name is Charles Oliveira. Left no doubt. I mean, what a round what a round it was, because it only lasted a round. And Gaethje lived up to his name, knocked down Charles. I was like, oh my goodness, is Gaethje about to pull this off? And I'd have been here for it, Garth has been at this a while. It would have been a deserving title. He's been a pretty good contender in this division for a very long time. I'd have been here for it. But it was not to be. It was not to be, because then he felt Charles's power. And when he felt Charles's power, Charles Oliveira, Charlie Olives that was frightening. It was like a snake. He was like a snake. He knocked him down, and then he took his back so fast. He took his back so obscenely fast. And it was like a snake. He went from one submission attempt to the next submission attempt like that. It was so smooth. It was like a hot knife through butter. It was insane. It was insane to watch. And it was at that moment I realized that, yes, Charlie Olives, forget the debate. He's sub Poirier. He's sub guy. He is the best lightweight in the world. Now that is pinning a matchup with a certain Dagestani man, and that is not Khabib. All right, Khabib ain't coming back. I feel like Khabib is pretty happy retired. That is Islam Makhachev, who should be the next fight, but of course we'll see. I know we call out Conor, but everybody calls out Conor. We'll talk about somebody else that called out Conor. And Conor doesn't deserve it. I love Conor. He doesn't deserve it. Okay, he hasn't won a fight since 2019, 2020, 2019. It's 2019. Yeah, 2019. Sorry. And 155 since what? 2015. It's a long time. So he doesn't really deserve it. But hopefully, Islam, Charlie Olives. That's the fight I want to see. That would be an absolutely insane fight. That should be the fight for the championship. But by all means, Charlie Olives is the champion. He might not have the gold trunks anymore. He might not have the belt. But he is by all means, the #1 guy in that division. And so further notice, pinning Islam. But yeah, that was, I mean, an incredible round 1. And UFC 274 had this trend, all right? This was a wild card. No pun intended. It had this trend of absolute banger match of the year to garbage. Banger match of the year, garbage. Especially on the main card, which we highlight always. But it was less so, but to an extent, on the undercard as well. But continuing the trend on the main card to the co-main event, which was Rose. I'm not gonna call her Thug Rose. She's gonna have to earn that nickname back. Rose Namajunas versus Carla Esparza had the worst title fight and one of the worst fights. People are calling it the worst fight of all time, and not in a Kimbo Dada way, in which it was so bad it was entertaining. This was just a horrific fight. This fight was so bad that I, like Dana White and his compadres sitting down, I took this time, because it was on the same time as Canelo Bivol, even though Bivol was kind of, floating away. I decided to watch Bivol Canelo on my laptop while this fight was on. I completely zoned out of this fight. I can't remember anything happening because nothing happened in this fight. I think maybe a handful. I can count on my hands how many significant strikes were in this fight. This was one of the worst, if not the worst, title fight of all time, and one of the worst fights in the history of the UFC. It was a disgrace. It was an absolute disgrace. And I saw it coming when in that first round I realized Rose wanted to counterpunch, or at least, I don't even know. Well, I would have thought it'd been counterpunching with Rose, but I don't know. Maybe she wanted to fight on the outside and stick and move, which is a weird fucking game plan. Which is a very weird game plan for her when, like Trevor Whitman tried to tell her in the nicest way possible, because Rose does not take hard, tough love, ironically, very well, that you're better than her on the feet, so strike with her. Strike with her. Like, just do something. Do something. And Rose did nothing. Did absolutely nothing. And thought she won the fight. Either one of them could have won the fight, but really nobody won that fight. If they could have been two losers, if they could have just been like, if Bruce could have gone there and been like, and you're a loser for both bouts and said both of their names, I'd be here for it, because it was a horrible fight. It was a fight that we shouldn't have, it was horrible. So I'm almost glad that Carla won, because it's like, it shows the show. You can't be the champion and just do nothing and expect to walk out with your title. They weren't booing because you were doing your job. They were booing because you weren't doing anything at all. So Rose has to rebear. I am done with Rose for right now. Done with her. Carla, I wish you the best. A weird fight for you, but you know what? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You got your championship back. Longest time in between championship reigns, by the way. So shout out to Carla Esparza. But, yeah, it was a snooze fest. What wasn't a snooze fest and what was oh my lord. Knockout of the year. Michael Iron Mike Chandler took on El Cucoy. And while the boogeyman is dead, and we for a second thought he was actually dead, with one of the most vicious knockouts. Probably the best, even better than the Silva or I think yeah, was it? Or was it? Nah. Was it Silva? Was it Silva with the front kick? I think it was. I forget who it was against though. It's escaping me right now, but y'all know. This was the best front kick KO I'd say I've seen. The way Tony dropped, he was out instantly. Instantly he was out, and that was it. Felt like a sack of potatoes. Done. It was out for a while. But Michael Chandler never fails to excite. Round 1 looked like El Cucoy might be back. it looked like the Ferguson of old, right? It looked like, okay, this is CSO, champ only Tony. This is our guy. Mike was going for it too. Don't get me wrong, of course. In true Mike Chandler form, got knocked down, got back up, was firing right back. And at that huge shakedown, probably the still round. It was giving Tony some ground and pound. But it was a great round one. It was like, okay, we got to fight. We got to fight a year contender. And I as soon as I was typing out, I said, Mike Chandler has to be pound for pound most exciting. And then he took Tony's head off. Literally a moment later. I mean, I can't overstate that knockout was insane. It was insane. It was an insane fight. Mike Chandler, honestly, is in my personal UFC Hall of Fame, and he's only had 4 fights, and he's never won a championship, and I think he's 2 for 2. Because every single fight with Mike Chandler is a banger. You know every single fight he's going to deliver the goods. It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be something that you can enjoy, right? Win or lose, it's going to be a fire fight, and it's going to be a classic. It's going to be an instant classic every single time. Just entertains. And then the call-out promo afterwards. I mean, good Lord. It was beautiful. A work of art. Said if I want the title fight. Called out Olives and Gaethje. Then he said, if y'all want to give me that, give me Conor. It was a beautiful promo. Go back and watch it if you can. Go back to and watch that fight or watch that knockout if you somehow missed it. It was incredible. Shout out to Mike Chandler, one of my favorite fighters. El Cucoy, enjoy retirement, because that was it, my boy. Listen, you're a legend, Hall of Famer. Love you. You're done. You're done. You don't come back from that. You don't need to. Your legacy was already cemented. It's over. I'm not going to talk about OSP versus Rule, because that was, once again, very boring. But I'll talk about some of the rest of the highlights from this UFC 274 card. Randy Brown and Chaos Williams with the banger to start off. Split decision for Randy. It was a great matchup. It was a great matchup. Randy Brown put on a striking clinic. When he got comfortable, he was styling a little bit. I liked it. But Chaos always had that threat of his power and had some good shots. It was a really good fight. Honestly, a really good opener, especially for one that got thrown on last minute. It was a really good opener. And Brandon Royval, that sub, how he got that on Chanel so fast, similar to Charlie Olives, I will never ever know. But it was some impressive groundwork. He got the sub. That was very nice to see. But yeah, overall, UFC 274 card had its highs, had its lows, had its lows. It'll be a very memorable card because of the Tony knockout and Olives' submission, and because it had the worst fight of all time potentially on it. All-time great card, maybe not, but definitely one of the most memorable. Champions League. All right, Champions League second leg. Who is going to the Champions League finals? What we had to figure out, ladies and gentlemen. And well, we figured out just that. First off with Liverpool Villarreal. And my Villarreal. Respect. Y'all lost, but respect. Because y'all fought every single step of this Champions League run y'all had. Y'all fought it out and made it interesting. Y'all easily could have laid down for Liverpool, but you didn't. You didn't. And in fact, you tied it up and made me think, oh my goodness, are the mighty Reds of Anfield about to lose? Are they about to choke this away? But no, Klopp and co were not about to choke this away, even after Villarreal took back 2 in the first half and tied it up going into the second half. A Luis Diaz substitution, and the rest was history. Fabinho got on the board, then Diaz himself got on the board, and of course Sadio Mane. Who else? It seems like he's scoring up very frequently recently. And yeah, Liverpool pulled away at the end. They're headed there. I mean, I feel like everybody would agree that they've been probably at the bare minimum a top 3 team in the world this year, and I think it's showing here in the Champions League. they get back to the finals, see if this era of Liverpool, this era in Anfield that they've had with this core, see if they can get a second Champions League title to their name. Not of course for Liverpool, but just for this current era of players. VVD, Mane, Salah, Fab, Klopp as managers, so on and so forth. But yeah, should be an interesting one. But Liverpool, Villarreal, it was great. It was a great match, but Liverpool needs it done. Real Madrid. What a club. What a club. They are the best club of all time. This is a fact. Probably the most prestigious. This is not me riding Real Madrid. But the mentality of this team that they have right now is it's ridiculous. I don't know what Don Carlo has in these boys, but it's just different. It's different. It's different. The Real Madrid DNA is different. It's different. They looked all but finished. I mean, they looked finished. Finished. Looked like it was done. Man City was up. It was the 90th minute. And I was like, wow. It all ends. What happens to Benzema's Ballon d'Or race? Who are they going to try to give it to now? Real Madrid had a hell of a run, but we're going to have an all-English final. But then, one of those classic Real Madrid Brazilians, and not Vinny, not Casemiro, not WB Casemiro, but not Vinny, no, it was his partner. It was Rodrigo. And y'all need to put some more respect on my boy Rodrigo. I have stuck by Roddy's name. I have stuck by him. Like, he's lived in the shadow of Vinicius Jr., understandably, to an extent. Y'all forget how talented young Rodrigo is, and my, did he shine bright in the second leg of the Champions League semifinals. Scored not once, but twice in the 90th minute, in the last minutes of the game, to send it to extra time. With just one of the clutchest moments. Cam Owen scored 2 goals in the 90th minute, in 1 minute apart, by the way. It was just shocking stuff at the Bernabeu, which really seems to be the palace of dreams. And then, extra time, Man City they look gassed. They still look like they're shocked that they're even in this position. They can't believe that Roddy scored twice. They give up a penalty, and Benz does what Benz does. He makes, easy work with the penalty. Real Madrid advance. An absolutely stunning game. Real Madrid loves the drama, and I cannot get enough. I frankly cannot get enough. I do not know how this team keeps pulling this off, but they do. There might not be a more dangerous team than second leg Real Madrid. Now, unfortunately, the Champions League final is one leg and one leg only. It's final. So they need to bring that second leg energy in this game. But, my goodness, what a path they've had to get here. Salah wanted Real Madrid. He wanted revenge for one that he says, he missed out on. And we'll see. He got his wish. But, Real Madrid ain't nothing to, play around with. Don Carlo ain't nothing to play around with. Now, Klopp also ain't nothing to play around with. And Liverpool ain't nothing to play around with. But it should be a fun matchup. It should be a fun matchup. I'm not going to make any predictions, but I will say it should be a very, very fun matchup, and I'm very, very excited to see what happens. But, yeah, that was the Champions League semifinals. Now for entertainment. And, well, we're going to start off with movies. Yes, you said movies, Chris. Yes, I did. Movies, because couple things happened. Couple multiverses got exploited at the end of the last year. Or was it this year? Did No Way Home come out this year? Listen, my timeline is still messed up. I think I'm still recovering from being on COVID time. But Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, that's right. Came out this week. Listen, I think it was okay. It was okay. It was pretty good. It was nothing crazy. I think I was still a little bit hungover from, these like epics that were, No Way Home or The Batman, right? Which were these like massive, major, huge movies. And not that this wasn't a big movie, and it was certainly hyped as a big movie, but it just wasn't on that like caliber, which is fine. And it was a horror movie. It was a horror movie. It wasn't like a horror movie, but it was definitely a horror movie. It was camped up with Sam Raimi as expected. Liz did great. Spoiler alert, obviously, on all of this. Did not expect him to go full on Scarlet Witch is the villain, and I do not know how how Wanda is going to be redeemed, or if she can be redeemed after she killed so many people. She killed so many magic users. She went to another universe and killed every single member except for Moto of the Illuminati, which were very arrogant and probably had it coming, but killed them all. Killed every last one of them. We got to see John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, as a lot of people have been hoping to see. We also got to see Captain Marvel. Who else? Patrick Stewart showed up and got viciously murdered. Viciously murdered by Wanda. But yeah, Patrick Stewart showed up in the floater. But yeah, Patrick Stewart, of course, as always, as Professor X. What else? Got to see Wong as Sorcerer Supreme, fully. I'm missing somebody from the Illuminati. Oh, Black Bolt had the worst death of the Illuminati. That entire Illuminati scene was kind of very Invincible-esque. And probably was a lot of people's favorite scene in the movie, even though it was a brutal murdering. But yeah, Black Bolt, God, jeez, blew up in his own head. The way he fell, oh God. Wanda was on one, alright? She was on one. One of my friends texted me before I saw this. Wanda was walked down, she was certainly walked down game, alright? She was walking down to everybody. It was insane, but we also got to see America Chavez, and kind of see her powers jump into universes and all that stuff. But yeah, it was a solid movie. Nothing crazy, but it was a solid movie. Music. Jack Harlow dropped Come Home, The Kids Miss You. I'm going to give it, round of applause, an 8.3. 8.3, subject to change. 8.3. First listen, 8.3. Some people were high on this album, some people were down on this album. It was very polarizing, but I think that's just because Jack Harlow is popular right now. He's popular. No pun intended. Harlow is the guy right now. He is. And he's got a lot of hype around him, not just from the industry, but from his legions and legions of fans, mostly female. He has male fans too, but, he's a heartthrob right now. Naturally, that makes him very, very hated because he's popular, all right? There are people that are going to hate Jack Harlow, no matter he could rap like Kendrick did on the Heart 5, and there would still be people that are like, this man is mid, he's garbage, why do y'all listen to him? All right, now, I saw noticeable improvement in this album from Jack, and I think that's what improved me the most, or at least impressed me the most. Churchill Downs feat Drake, of course, was the highlight. Of course, he was at Churchill Downs with Drake. We'll talk about the Kentucky Derby a little bit later, though. But, yeah, he was at Churchill Downs, and that song was great. Drake gave an all-time verse. Dua Lipa was also fired. They're going to push that as another single. Of course, he also dropped a music video for First Class featuring my wife, Anita. Brilliant. He just does not miss on a marketing move. He just does not miss. He does not miss. Shout out to Harlow. But yeah, I think it was a good album. It was a good album. It was very enjoyable. had its moments where I was like, all right, I don't need this. But it also had its moments of like, this is really good. All right, this is really good. 8.3. I can see it getting a little bit lower to maybe an 8, but I wouldn't feel right, I don't think, giving it like a 7. So might end up at like an 8, but we'll say an 8.3 for right now. And yeah, good overall album. Check it out if you haven't. And don't do this whole music gets popular, artist gets popular, and suddenly he's mid or he's trash. Stop. You're eating. It's ridiculous. The Heart Part 5. The Heart Part 5. Kendrick is back. And he's back for real this Friday. He's back for real this Friday. But this man has no regard for any type of time and decided just to drop, just out of the blue, drop this. Which, I mean, it was heat. It was heat. It took a while for it to, like, get going. That first verse, I was like, okay. But then when he got into the pocket, he was so far deep into the pocket, I was in, and it was fantastic, all right? It was fantastic. It lived up to the hype of what you would expect the next part of the Heart series to be. The deepfake technology were tricking me out in the music video. It was a cool looking music video, right? It was a cool concept. Using, different scorned celebrities or just, memorable people in the Cali area such as Kobe and Nipsey. But also had like Jussie Smollett, he had Will Smith, he had O.J. Simpson. Honestly, by the end of it, I was starting to think he deepfaked his own face. All right, deepfake technology has gotten wild, but yeah, crazy music video. But oh my goodness, what a song! What a song! Very hyped for this album. But surely, I mean, it's Kendrick's always surefire going to be an album of the year contender. Can't wait. The boy is back. Well, not the boy. The boy is in Toronto, but the PG Land, Oklahoma. He back. All right, he back. Moon Knight, both season finales for both of mine. I don't know what I'm going to watch next week. I really don't know what I'm going to watch this week. Season finale for Moon Knight. Layla's suit from Tolerette was sweet. I am so in love with that woman. I am in love with her just like Mark is and just like Steven is. I love her. I love her. She's beating people up and she was just, the suit was so clean. I think she's pretty much an original character for the most part. I hope she stays around. She was great. All right, she was great. Shouts to the actor that played her as well, but she was great. All right, Layla was great. Her suit was sweet. Steven and Mark, of course, Mark goes back and saves Steven. They come back, and yeah. So it seems like Mark's suit is going to be Moon Knight. Steven's suit is going to be Mr. Knight. And I'm cool with that. It's kind of reflective of both personalities. And yeah, that was neat to see. Of course, they topple alongside Khonshu. They topple Harrow, take him down, and they put him in an asylum. And Mark says, "I'm done with you, Khonshu." And Khonshu says, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're done. Cool." But little does he know, the guy we've all been waiting for made a deal. Jake Lockley makes an appearance at the end of the episode, takes Harrow out of the asylum, puts him in the limo, and then blows his brains out. At the encouragement of Khonshu, as it's revealed, that Khonshu made a deal with Jake, and yes, that means Jake, Mark, Steven, whatever you want to call him, is in fact still Moon Knight. A great season finale. It was a very good series. I don't know what I'm going to do now that it's gone and that I don't know of any new show. Maybe watch Obi-Wan whenever it comes out. I'm a little bit lost, I'm going to be honest. A little bit lost without Moon Knight, but yeah, it was a good season finale. Can't wait to see what happens next. Oscar Isaac, you were brilliant. Everybody in this show. Ethan Hawke, brilliant. The actress that plays Layla was brilliant. I mean, it was just a great show. All right, it was a very good show. Short, but it was good. Short but sweet. So, yeah, Moon Knight, winning time. Game 6. You all know how this goes. Game 6 of the 1980 finals. Kareem is hurt and out. So Magic has to come and drop a 40-point, almost triple-double to win the championship. And, yeah, I love the way they did it. Magic stepping up. And, yeah, just kind of everything coming together. You know, Pat originally throwing away the Rookie of the Year numbers, and then I knew he was going to come back. I knew he was going to come back and tell Magic, and I was going to get him back to energy to finish the game. Magic learning he could lead on his teammates. After everything him and Norm went through, seeing them come together, that was cool. A lot of the criticisms about, how certain people were portrayed in this show, but I think it all came together. It all came together in this episode. Even Jerry, who was stressed out of his mind, he came together, had a positive outlook at the end of the show. Dr. Bus still fighting his demons, but he was better. Jeannie said she wanted to be like Claire, but Claire was like, you're going to be like your dad, foreshadowing. But, yeah, I mean, it was such a good season finale. Such a good season finale. I cannot wait for season 2. They have so much material to, build upon, and Larry watching on, kind of showing a little bit of respect, but also kind of not driving him to want to be there next year. That was fun to see. Kareem dealing with being out, but also being a mentor of Magic. Him saving Wood at the end. It was great. It was great. Straight up, it was really cool to see. So, yeah. Winning Time, season finale. Very, very good stuff. I definitely give it a co-sign. If you have not watched Winning Time, HBO Max, and I pay me to say this, go watch it. It was a great series. Don't watch it with your parents, though, unless your parents are close like that, because it is an HBO show, but it was very, very good. We're going to let the NBA main events, and we're going to go to the NHL for now, right? We're going to let the NBA main event, but we'll go to the NHL first. Talk about some of the first round. Yes, the NHL gets its own segment this week. How about that? Because it's playoff time, so let's get it. Capitals take out Florida 6-1. There were a lot of high-scoring games. I'm not going to lie. A lot of these past couple games were very high-scoring. Very high-scoring. These were great games for neutral viewers. I mean great games. And this was after we started the series with a couple 50-save, incredible games from goalkeepers. I say goalkeepers. Goalies, excuse me. But these game 2s and game 3s, listen, shootouts, all right? Straight shootouts. Caps, 6-1 Florida. Like I said, Florida was very good this year. But Washington is always going to be dangerous. They're always going to be dangerous. Samsonov gets his first career playoff win, I believe, in this game. Mark Johansson, TBR, OV, all good on the board. Caps, listen, it was a complete game for them. Goalie work, defense, offense. I mean, they had it all going. They had it all going in game 3. They're up 2-1. We'll see what happens there. Colorado takes out Nashville 7-3. Like I said, scoring. Gabe Landeskog. 2 goals, 2 assists for Landeskog. Cale Makar. I mean, there's not much more to say. 3 assists in this game. There's a very good argument. Very good argument. If you wanted to say he was the best defenseman in the league, I would not argue. I would not personally argue you. There are other people that are certainly in that conversation, but I would not argue if you said Cale was the best. 3 assists, certainly the best offensive. His skating is still ridiculous. Mac gets on the board too, but Mac gets on the board. He's got 4 goals, by the way, in the first 3 games. Colorado's up 3-0, looking like they're going to get the sweep. But yeah, that's kind of what I somewhat predicted, so I know Stradamus a little bit there. Pittsburgh takes out New York 7-4. Evan Rodriguez, 2 goals, 1 assist. Jeff Carter goes 2 for 2. No, he just had 2 goals, excuse me. And yeah, Pittsburgh's up 2-1. Like I said, similar to that Washington series, with these old legends, with Ovi, with Crosby, with the teams they have around them here in the playoffs, they were always going to be dangerous about some of these younger upstart teams, just because they have the experience of being in these situations. And they were going to be tougher outs than maybe expected for Florida and for New York, so they're locked in some series right now. They're locked in some series, only down 1 game, so it's not the end of the world, but they're certainly locked in a battle. Pittsburgh goes up here, though, and takes command of the series. Dallas takes out Calgary 4-2. Joe Pavelski with 2 goals. Meiskanen with 2 assists. and Dallas takes the lead in the series 2-1. I had Dallas coming out. Dallas been impressive so far. Get the 4-2 win here in Game 3. Boston takes out Carolina. Maybe this is why I'm sick, because we lost the past 2 games. I don't know. Boston wins 5-2. Brad Marchand had the most Brad Marchand game. Pissed off somebody on our team. He scored 2 goals, had 3 assists. All right, it was a nightmare. Him and Bergeron, who have been playing in Boston forever, probably since I was born. 1 goal, 2 assists for Patrice. And the series is tied. And I am now stressed. But I gotta have belief in my team. But I am stressed. I am not gonna sit here and lie to you. I am stressed, but I have belief in my team. I love the boys. Hopefully we get it done. St. Louis, Jordan Binnington stepped up big time. First start of the playoffs for Binnington. 28 saves. He shut the door. Shut the door on Minnesota. It helps tie up the series. They win 5-2. Krul, 2 goals. Perron with 2 goals as well. Also had an assist. St. Louis able to tie up the series. Tampa Bay had another. This is the 3rd of the games recently played. This is the 3rd 7-goal game by one team. It's the 3rd also 10-plus goal game by both teams. Tampa Bay puts 7 on Toronto. It was one that Toronto was going to want to not remember. All right. For a while. Victor Hedman stepped up big time in this game, as he's done so many times for this Lightning team. He's a friend. There's a couple people you could call franchise players, I guess, on that Tampa Bay squad, but Hedman, at the very least, is a pillar. If you don't want to call him, he is a pillar of that Lightning franchise, future Hall of Famer, and definitely a future, I forget what their Ring of Honor is called, but whatever that is, they're putting 4 in the rafters, all right? They're putting Hedman's number in the rafters. Vic stepped up big time in this game. Stamkos got on the board, Maroon did too. Lightning tie up the series. Toronto, they've been battling though. They've been battling, respect, but playing with fire here with Tampa Bay. But like I said, it was one of my anticipated series. I think it's going to be a good series, and it's been good so far. Lived up to the hype. Now, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the Kings and the Oilers. Now, this transpired after I finished my notes, but we do have it pulled up now. Kings get the win 4-0. It just wasn't there for Edmonton. It just wasn't there. Now, series is tied 2-2. It's not the end of the world. Jonathan Quick looked like Jonathan Quick 8 years ago. All right, Edmonton could not score on him if they wanted to. 31 saves for Quick. He's definitely the first star of the game if there was one. Moore gets a goal and assist. Lazat gets an assist, and it just wasn't close. Grant Storm got 2 goals. They shut the Oilers down. Not an easy task when you have McDavid and Dry, and a very rare sight when you have a McDavid and you have a Draisaitl. But the Kings shut down the Oilers here in Game 4 and are able to get the shutout. Shout out to Jonathan Quick for throwing it back. Going to need a lot more of that if they want to win the series. But they were able to tie it, make it interesting. NHL playoffs, he know for sure. Now for the main event. The main event, ladies and gentlemen. The NBA. Bucks Celtics, all right? Also, actually, we'll talk about that after. But Bucks Celtics, Bucks win 103-101 here in Game 3. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm not going to give you the same spiel I gave on Giannis a week ago. Y'all know what's up. 42 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists for Giannis. The Greek Freak is undeniable, unstoppable, whatever you want to call it. All right, whatever you want to call it, Giannis is that guy. All right, he's a beast. He's a monster. I like all of the above. All right, he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Al Horford though, continues to step up. Al's been stepping up here in the playoffs, so all respect to Big Al. 22, 16, and 5 in this game. Huge game for him. JB even had 27, but it wasn't enough. And part of that's because Jason Tatum was locked up in prison. All right, JT had the worst game I've seen him play in a very, very, very long time. Certainly is worse than this playoff run. But one of the worst I've seen him play in a long time. And it wasn't a great time to have it, but not the end of the world. He's got to play better, though. He's got to get back to his form versus the Nets. If they want to do anything, he has to get back to his form versus the Nets and play on that level. Play on the level that he was playing there. Because if not, they're in a world of trouble. They are in a world of trouble. But we'll see what happens. But not smooth skating so far for the Celtics. Golden State, puts it on Memphis. Puts it on Memphis. 142 to 112. Steph dropped 30. Clay dropped 21 and 9. Jordan Poole. There's 3 Splash Bros now. There's 3 Splash Bros. And Poole's playing so consistently. It's like, if you try to take Steph or Clay out of the game, you leave one of the other two open to go off. You try to stop, Poole, you leave Clay and Steph. It's just, I don't know. Good luck. Good luck, Memphis. That's the best I can say. Is good luck. Because when they're on like they were on in Game 3, they're not going to be beat. They're not going to be beat. And my goodness, where they were. Ja was also on. He had 34 before he got injured. I don't think that was a dirty play. I know a lot of people were going back and forth, but I don't think that was a dirty play. It was a basketball play. Things happen. Hopefully Ja's okay for Game 4. But, Golden State puts it on Memphis. Dallas takes out Phoenix in what has been a messy, messy series. The refereeing, at first for Phoenix, before this game, it was badly skewed in Phoenix's favor. But in this game, it was bad on both parts. CP3 fouling out. He also had a terrible game in general. Just the foul calls were all over the place. I don't know how Jay Crowder didn't get tacked up for literally throwing Luka to the ground. It was wild, all right? It was wild. But Dallas got the win. Luka goes 26, 7, and 11, even though he went 1 for 10 for 3. So it wasn't his most efficient night, but he got the job done. Dorian Finney-Smith with 24 and 8 was impressive. Book had 35, but it wasn't enough. Was not enough. Wasn't enough with CP3 out having the game he did, and the series is now tied. Luka moving like a supervillain, with some of the flopping in Game 4. So we'll see what happens, but they've made this series much more interesting than I thought it would be. I will give them that. I did not expect it to be 2-2, but it is, so we'll see how Phoenix answers. Sixers were able to take out Miami 116 to 108. Harden with 31, 7, and 9. Embiid with 24 and 11. Jimmy Buckets, playoff Jimmy Buckets, continues to be different. He had 40. Bam had 21, 7, and 4, but it was not enough for Miami. And the Sixers tied up the series. And suddenly, that number 1 seeding is starting to come undone for the Heat. They need 6th man of the year. They need Duncan Robinson, who's been MIA. Has been unplayable, and not in a good way. He's been nowhere to be found. They need him to show up and start making some shots. They need Harlow to be the 6th man of the year. They need more help than just Jimmy dropping 40, playing 40 minutes a game. They need better than that, and he deserves better than that. Do I expect Harden to, play like he played here in Game 4 every game? No. But if he does, Sunday the Sixers become a much more dangerous team, as we saw in this game. It was nice to see the Beard get back on track after a rough stretch. Only his second 30-point game, actually, in a Philly jersey. Finally giving Embiid some help. But this Philly team is dangerous. They're dangerous. If they can get it figured out, there ain't no telling. And Miami's given them plenty of opportunity to figure it out. So we'll see what happens. But Sixers are certainly looking game. Certainly looking. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Roundup. And with that, we're going to go to F1, the Miami Grand Prix. Every celebrity you know of, I mean, even the micro celebrities, the influencers, the major celebrities, the Hall of Famers. We even had GOAT sightings. Listen, everybody and their mamas with any type of wealth was at the Miami Grand Prix. All right? Everybody was at the Miami Grand Prix. But Max Verstappen continues this trend. If Max finishes a race this year, he wins the race. If he doesn't finish the race, then that's what happens. He just DNFs. He either DNFs or he wins. There's no in between. The ultimate boomer bust, but he's booming way more than he's busting right now. Pause. But yeah, Max wins the Miami, the first ever Miami Grand Prix. I know a lot of people had questions about the asphalt and the track, and I'm sure they'll get whatever needs to be fixed. But seems like F1 enjoyed the glitz and the glam. The shooting director needs to polish that up a little bit, but it was the first one, so I'll give him a pass. But yeah, Miami GP was an event. Charles and Carlos wrap up. Ferrari wraps up the rest of the podium. But yeah, Max wins again. I kid. Churchill Downs, yes. And I'm not just talking about the Jack Harlow show because, even though Harlow, set riders up, and of course him, Drake, and Drewski made a show, but we also had the Kentucky Derby. We had the actual Kentucky Derby this past weekend, and my, after the whole Bob Baffert and the situation last year, we needed a Kentucky Derby like we had this past weekend. Rich Strike hits it golden, wins the race for the Roses with an incredible kick at the end. The come behind, first off, Epicenter and Zandon going 1-2 right down that last stretch, down that last straightaway, looking like they had it. Epicenter was the favorite to win, by the way. Zandon was not too far off, I believe. Anyways, they're going back and forth, and then all of a sudden you see this horse Rich Strike was going so fast, it made the other horses look like they were moving in slow motion. It was insane, and then just an insane finish with, Strike, Epicenter, and Zandon just kind of perfectly aligned in that 1-2-3. It was just an incredible race, an incredible finish, an incredible event. And then Rich Strike, who had only made the deadline by 30 seconds, wasn't supposed to be in the race, was brought in literally last minute, walked out there, right, wins the race, got a little rowdy after the race, but yeah, shout out to Rich Strike, shout out to, I forget the jockey, but shout out to him as well. An 80-1 long shot, one of the biggest upsets, technically in sports history, but certainly in Kentucky Derby history. And yeah, just happy for the horse and the trainers. Hopefully they treat it well, because it deserves it. It deserves it after a run like that. Absolutely deserves it. Won a Kentucky Derby. And I should have added this at the end of the NBA segment, but Nikola Jokic did in fact win this MVP officially this morning. Well deserved. 27, 13, and 8, which is ridiculous for a center. I know a couple guys had very good arguments. Embiid, of course. Some people throw Giannis in that conversation. Some people say, but I would say Jokic definitely had the best argument in my opinion. And what he did down the stretch of the regular season was undeniable. The numbers he put up are undeniable without the other two best players on that. Without the other two best players on that team, what Jokic was able to do was just spectacular. So yeah, well deserved back-to-back MVPs, which is insane to think about. Second round pick, probably best second round pick of all time at this point, certainly. Future Hall of Famer with 2 MVPs. So yeah, shout out to Jokic, one of the best players of his generation at this point, undeniably. Yankees, MLB, still hot, and they're still mad, which is natural because we're the Yankees, but we're still hot. They're still mad. They're still calling Yankee Stadium a Little League ballpark. Does not really matter. We keep winning. That's all I really care about. Shohei Ohtani is still broken. I find it kind of crazy how arguably the best player in 2 of America's top sports might be international players very soon, if not now. So find that interesting. But yeah, Ohtani hitting starting to heat up, and his pitching has been great this year. So yeah, Ohtani picking up right where he left off after his MVP season last year. Angels actually looking better as well. So that'll be an interesting story to follow. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, it's been fun here on Mondays. It's been fun on this blue couch. We'll see if it's a blue couch next week. I do not know. But for now, and for all the great memories we've had here in the apartment, episode 92 concludes. Without further ado, Ocho, signing off.